Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Captain Bucky O'Hare from the toy line of the same name from Boss Fight Studios. I have to say I'm pretty excited about this. Bucky O'Hare was one of those things when I was a kid that was kind of on my radar, but it was a little bit more of an obscure cartoon. I think it was a comic book as well. I never had any of the comics though. But I always kind of associated it with Ninja Turtles. I think just kind of being on store shelves at the same time and both being anthropomorphic animal people. I just kind of, for whatever reason, in my mind, always kind of associated the two. I mean, they're very different. Obviously, this takes place in space. You know, there's spaceships and everything flying around, and it's a group of freedom fighters fighting against the Toad Empire, so kind of Star Wars-esque in that regard. But very, very cool. And I had a couple of the figures back when I was a kid, and I loved them, and I heard about this line and I got really excited because it's basically, you know, the toys I loved as a kid, but a ton more articulation and everything like that. So I'm actually really psyched for these. I got these from Big Bad Toy Store. I know they've been out for a little bit and I'm a little late to the game. But they just didn't really hit my radar right away when they were first released. I didn't know they were happening. So I only found out about them recently and I was like, oh my God, I have to get these. So very excited about this. So we can see you get the little bio card down here. Captain of the Space Frigate Righteous Indignation. Weapon of choice, 1 automatic self-cleaning laser pistol. And they have SPACE as an acronym because apparently, if you can see down here, it stands for Sentient Protoplasm Against Colonial Encroachment. Okay, I feel like we had the acronym first and we had to work backwards. What can we make SPACE stand for? But in any case, the Space Adventures of Bucky O'Hare. So you can see on the back of the card here, you get a little snippet of a comic, which is actually pretty cool. You have Bucky O'Hare himself, First Mate Jenny, which is kind of a big deal because Jenny never got made in the original toy line. I think she was slated for a Wave 2 that never happened. So that she was a main character on the show, so I always wanted a figure of her as a kid. So very, very cool that that got made. And then right away they're into variants. You have Astro Projection Jenny and Stealth Mission Bucky. Deadeye Duck, I definitely want. I have to try to track one of those down. And then the Storm Toad Trooper, which is just kind of like the general infantry, you know, Toad Trooper. But these look really cool. I mean, you have the nice figure. You get an extra set of hands, his blaster, a couple of extra faces in there. Packaging, very, very cool. Really beautiful artwork. I'm psyched. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So without further ado, I'm going to get him out of this packaging, and we're going to take a closer look. So here's Bucky out of the packaging. I think he looks really good. I think he did a really nice job with this figure. You can see he does have a tiny little cape, which is not really visible in the packaging. I forgot it even should exist before I opened him. And it's a little bit softer plastic. It's not super flimsy though. And it just kind of pegs into one single peg hole in the back. It's a little difficult to get it in there because it is kind of a softer peg, so you kind of have to smash it in, but it does eventually get in there. But yeah, head sculpt looks great. I love the goggles. I think the head and face, eyes, all that's nicely painted. You can see the inside of his ears are painted as well. And his ears are on tiny little ball joints, which is fun, so you can move them all around whatever poses you want to do. Very cool. The head is on a barbell system, but the top barbell, I guess, ball joint is much larger than the bottom. So you have this ball joint at the base of the neck, but then you also have this ball joint at the top of the barbell, and that's so you can he can look really far up. He can look down. So there's a nice range of motion there. You can do side to side. Really, just a ton of movement there because of that barbell system. He does have a hinge in the shoulder, as well as a rotation, which is limited a little bit by his kind of shoulder pad thing, but it is like has some movement so you can kind of get it out of the way if you need to. And then he's got a 90-degree bend there in the elbow, as well as a rotation. And then you have a rotation in the glove as well. And he does come with some extra gloves. He's basically got a set of closed fist gloves. And so you just pop that off. I will say it is really difficult to get these off. You really have to, because it's a really long peg. So you got to just keep pulling it, and it's got like a lip. So you got to pull past that, and then once that, you can finally get it off. But then to put them back on is really difficult as well. So I'm not going to demonstrate it here, but you literally just keep pulling until it pops off, and then you just push the other one in until it pops in. But he's got a closed fist set of hands, and then he's got this kind of like, you know, pointing forward, and then this kind of like, I don't know, maybe getting someone's attention, or maybe like a jumping hand just this open hand over here. So that's kind of a fun set. And then he's got the set of hands that holds the weapons over here. And I really like this because the trigger finger fits perfectly into the trigger of the weapon. It fits really naturally. It looks fantastic. They did a really nice job with that. And he actually comes with 2 blasters. And then he's got these pegs on the side. And these are supposed to be able to peg right on here. So he can actually store his weapon onto the side. Now it's a little difficult to get it on here, but I believe it is meant to do that. There you go. It's not on all the way, but it's on enough. I mean, it'll hold. So I think that's pretty cool. And then you can go ahead and put this into his hand. All right, come on now. Get this going. And then this should slip the trigger finger right in there. Perfect. And that just looks great. Really, really nicely done. I think on the show he only used 1, but they do give you 2, so if you wanted to dual wield these, you could certainly do so. It's a really, really nice look. So I'm going to take this one out of his hand. There we go. He does have a waist swivel, as you can see there. He's got a ball joint in the hip. Now, I don't think he has a thigh swivel. I think that's one solid piece. But his legs are pretty tiny, so I feel like the ball joint's enough. And it's got a nice range of motion that you can effectively, get the thigh swivel functionality out of it. So I'm not super worried about that. He does have a knee joint, one single knee joint. And then it also has a rotation as well. And that's nice and tight. And then you have a hinge in the ankle as well as side to side. And then you do have a bend in the middle of his foot because he's got big floppy rabbit feet. So very cool. I think it's a really nice figure. I really like it a lot. I think they did a great job with it. I think the hands, the accessories, the paint job, the face. He does come with alternate faces, by the way. I forgot to mention this. They're not incredibly different. These two aren't even that different from each other. But you can see he's got a little bit more of an open mouth. So what you do, and this is a little frightening, but you actually just kind of grab a hold of his side tufts of hair and just kind of pop it off and sometimes rocket it at yourself. But there you go. That's the stuff nightmares are made of. Just that stalk of a head with a nubbin in it. And then you can see that there is a spot in there. So lining them up is a little difficult. But once you get the hang of it, it gets a little bit easier. You just kind of have to make sure you find the right spot and then just kind of push it on there and it will kind of snap into place. I don't know if I got that. I don't think I did. Like I said, it's a little difficult at first, but I feel like the more you do it, the better it gets. I don't know if that's all the way on or not. It's really kind of difficult to get on there. There we go. I think that's on. There we go. Okay, so, and like I said, the expressions aren't incredibly different. These two are very similar to me, but this one is kind of like an open mouth, closed mouth situation. So, but they all look great. I mean, really, all of them are nicely painted. They all work great. And once they're in there, it's not falling out. So, I mean, it takes a little bit of effort to peg it in, but then once you do, he's set to go. So yeah, he's really, really good. I like him a lot. I really do. I wanted to do some size comparisons though, because when I first ordered this, I thought it was going to be taller than this, honestly. I'm not disappointed with the size, but I wanted to do some size comparisons here because I know when I was looking for them on the internet, I couldn't find them anywhere. So that way, if someone else is looking for them, hopefully this will help. All right, so I zoomed out a little bit here. Now, the thing that I was kind of most interested in is I wanted to see how these would scale with NECA turtles. Because that's, like I said, in my mind, what I kind of wanted to associate them with and compare them to. So you can see here is quite a bit smaller than a NECA turtle. Now, to be fair, Bucky is one of the smaller characters in this universe, so he would be a little bit smaller. I know that there are other characters like Deadeye and Jenny and the Toads, and certainly Bruiser, the Berserkian baboon. He would be maybe more in size with this turtle. But then I would think in universe he should probably be taller than the turtle. So I'm thinking this line of toys is not quite in scale with, like, say, NECA Turtles or something like that. It's close, it's not terrible, but not quite really meant to go. Um, let's see, what else can I show? Here's just a random Fortnite 4-inch action figure, and you can see that that's kind of where at least Bucky is in terms of size. He's kind of more of a 4-inch figure. Um, let's see, here is a Spin Master Batman, which you can see is a little smaller. I mean, Peely's kind of tall as far as 4-inch figures go because he's a big banana. Here is, let's see, what's some more random stuff I can throw in here. Here is a Soto figure. So you can see, again, they're all about the same size with his ears. Bucky's probably 4 inches. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have. Here's a 4-inch Marvel figure, just for fun. You can see that they're all pretty much the same size. So I would say he's on scale with 4-inch figures. That's about where I would put him. He's a little too small for NECA Turtles. But then again, like I said, he is kind of a smaller character. So, I mean, it's not a great fit, but it's not terrible. But yeah, I wish they were a little bigger. I wish they were kind of more in scale with the NECA Turtle stuff. Just because, like I said, when I was a kid, the Playmates Turtles and the I think Playmates also made these toys back in the day, so that's why they were kind of the same size, and I kind of played with them together as a kid. But there's not really a turtle figure. I mean, I guess maybe Reaction, but I feel like that wouldn't quite scale correctly either, just because of the way it's proportioned. But yeah, he's just a little too small for what I would have liked, but it doesn't mean the figure's bad. It's just in my mind I envisioned it being a little bit bigger. So at the end of the day, I definitely think Bucky is a good figure. I think he looks fantastic. The accessories he comes with are nice. A lot of nice articulation. All around, really fun figure. Definitely a little smaller than I imagined, but again, doesn't mean it's a bad toy. Just when I saw it online, it's hard to gauge size, so I just envisioned it being a little bit larger. I personally kind of wish he was a little bit larger so he could be a little bit more in scale with the NECA Turtle stuff. Um, Obviously, I would love him to be in scale with the Super 7 Turtle stuff because that looks like the original action figures, which is what I had as a kid, the original pairing I had as a kid. But I don't think that's an option because they're even bigger than the NECA Turtles, so that would be kind of ridiculous. But I still think they're great figures. Like I said, there are definitely going to be characters in this line that are going to be bigger than Bucky. I definitely think he's one of the smaller characters. So far, I also have Jenny and one of the Toad Troopers, so I'll do videos of them and I'll kind of do group shots every time, and we'll see, how he compares. But I definitely think he's going to be one of the smaller characters. So I need to track down some of the others. I think I have to find a Deadeye somewhere. He was always my favorite as a kid because he had 4 arms, so he could always hold a ton of weapons, which I always really enjoyed. So I'm hoping they continue. I hoping we get a Willy. I definitely need a Blinky at some point. He was another one of my favorites because he was a robot. And there was a Toad robotic bad guy whose name I cannot remember off the top of my head. Oh, also there was it Al Negator? He was a bad guy alligator. He was really great. Definitely gonna need a figure of him. So I hope the line does well. I hope it continues. The price is a little steep from what I can remember. I think these were 35 a piece, which isn't terrible. It's a highly detailed action figure, but I just feel like market price would probably be somewhere in the area of like 20 to 25 when you think about like, products from Hasbro and things like that. And even the NECA Turtles at Target tend to be about $25, $26 a piece when you think about, price per figure because they usually come in 2 packs. So, if these were 30, I feel like that might have been a little bit more in the area. 35 is a bit much, but I don't think it's terribly outside the price range. Obviously, Boss Fight Studios is a little bit of a smaller company, so I feel like, for licensing rights and everything, and to make profit, they have to charge a little bit more. So I'm willing to forgive that. I understand that, but at least they make a good product. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to pay $35 for something that's terrible. I think this guy's great. Love the accessories. Again, the paint applications are very sharp, very nice, and overall, he just looks really good. So definitely going to be checking out a couple more figures in this line, and I'm hoping to enjoy them as much as I like this guy here. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks for watching.